Spring and summer 2024 fashion is all about frills and bows, girly stuff. I'm all in. I found this free summer dress pattern which checks all the boxes. It's the Milana dress by Vikisews and I've decided to make it. Hi, welcome to my eclectic channel. My name is Agnes and I make videos for fun. We started sewing. Last time we did the darts on the front bodice pieces. In the spirit of getting the different pieces ready before I put them together, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the ties. So I've already pressed them in half, right sides together, and it's the standard stuff. You can go through the instructions if you're following along. Just stitch along that short end here and then along the entire length. And the seam allowance throughout this entire project is 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch. Before I turn the straps inside out, I'm going to go ahead and overlock the seam allowances. I've turned the ties right side out and pressed them. A trick here, I like using this tool for this purpose. It's a letter opener, which is good because it means it's not sharp. It'll cut paper, but it's not going to cut fabric. And because the problem is, this is already pressed, but when you're first going to press it, how do you get the seam to come out all the way before you press? You don't want your seam to be in and have folds here and lose the width. So this tool is really nice because I can put it in like that and I can push it against the sides and then it will help make sure that my seam comes all the way out. Useful for this purpose, also useful for French seams when pressing French seams. Long story short, this is done. The next step in the instructions, which I'm going to follow, is to top stitch all of the sides except for this end. This will be taken in a seam allowance. Depending upon how it happens, I might overlock. Maybe I should just overlock by default. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll overlock here, see it's already fraying. But then for all of the other sides, the two long sides and for the pointy side at the end, the finished end, all of those three sides, you want to run a line of top stitching. So I've changed the thread on my machine. It's already in, but to be a nice and matching blue. So far I did not mention, but I've been working with white thread. Maybe you saw it on the video. I'm cheap. So I'm using white thread for most of what I can. If it's underneath, not going to be seen, white thread. If it's seams, I know, white thread. If it's darker fabric, I'll use black. And yeah, just hope that my garment doesn't get too stretched. If you're working your seams correctly, they definitely should not come apart. Where was I? Okay, yeah, so I'm ready for the top stitching with this nice matching thread. I love this blue. I'm very happy. And it needs to be 5 millimeters from the edge. So I'll use some kind of marker on my machine. That's challenging, and it's got to be really straight because it's showing. One more thing, when I'm doing any kind of top stitching is never structure bearing. It's always to keep something in place or in this case it's mostly decorative, maybe also to keep the strap nice and flat. So you know, it's not like it's holding up anything. So I do like to use a longer stitch length because it looks prettier. So I'm not going all the way to a 10, I'm a 9. My machine is not fancy. But judging from it, maybe it's a 1.5 to 2 millimeter stitch length that I'll be using. My machine doesn't have a 5 millimeter marking. I'm not complaining too much. It does have centimeters on one scale, and the rest of it is inches. So I do have the 1 centimeter mark, which is very useful, but it doesn't go down to 5 millimeters. It does have the 1/4 inch marking, which is pretty close to 5 millimeters, and that's the one I'll be using. So that required quite a bit of focus simply because it's a long line of stitching, but I'm pretty happy with the results. While we're prepping pieces for the dress, I'm going to go ahead and apply fusible interfacing to my neck facings. I debated. I went upstairs where all my sewing supplies are, and I debated. I've got fusible interfacing for medium weight to heavier fabrics, and then I have this one which is for light to medium weight fabrics, and I've decided that mine should be, I don't know why I hesitated. I mean, this is thinner than quilting cotton, so definitely on the light side of medium weight fabrics. Attach the inner facing to my neck facings, and I think this might be overkill, but it's in all the tutorials that you watch about facings. Even if you put the interfacing on, which in my mind solidifies the edges, I mean, I don't feel like my fabric can fray at this point, but still I am going to overlock the exposed edges. So for the this is the front facing. For the front facing, these are the edges that are going to get exposed, and then also this at the shoulders will go into a shoulder seam and be pressed flat. So I'm going to overlock the shoulders and all around that curve here. The back goes like this. I am going to do something similar, so that means I'm going to overlock on this part and again at the shoulders for both pieces. And that's all we had time for today. Next time we'll turn our attention to the bodies. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like.